Hi guys, how you doing out there? The energy last week was so intense. I'm Erin, this is Queen Bee Tarot, and this is your astrology report for September 20th through the 26th. The energy last week was so intense because there were a lot of really hard angles, and the planets are definitely encouraging us to change. So if we resist, it's difficult, and if we go with the flow, change will guide us. However, our egos are always getting in the way. Relationship dynamics were definitely under a strain. A lot of the growth that we're going through on the inside happens long before it manifests on the outside. And so as we're experiencing this change starting to come out from all the growth that we've been doing, it's causing a lot of tension, that like tightness and twitchy feeling and that uncomfortable wanting to just make something change. That's been the energy of the last week. And I'll let you know, this coming week, it's a lot of ups and a lot of downs and a lot of ups and a lot of downs. I'm going to start with today, Sunday. Moon's in Scorpio, and the energy is super creative, actually. It's impulsive, it's excitable. It's like, hey, let's try something new kind of thing. But on Monday, the energy definitely goes back to feeling twitchy. Not satisfied with anything at face value, we're more inclined to dig deeper into life's mysteries, into what's bothering us and all that sort of thing. But because of that, we might come off as argumentative because of how we're feeling on the inside. On Tuesday, we've got a fall equinox. Happy equinox, everybody. The sun moves into Libra, and it's a time of night and day balancing and the seasons changing. So we're definitely feeling that flux, both inside and outside. On Wednesday, we go from having a great day on Tuesday to all of a sudden questioning continues. Are you going to dive in and dig deeper, or are you going to push that change and that questioning away? Depending on how much you go with the flow, that's going to be how well this week works out for you. On Thursday, there is another difficult day with a risk of accidents because of just not being careful. So please, with your words, with your actions on Thursday, please slow down. Please be careful. Otherwise, you might run into trouble. On Friday, the moon is going to hit Jupiter and then Pluto and then Saturn. So we're going to have a lot of emotional awakenings happening. Again, going with the flow is the best way. On Saturday, it's going to be a make or break kind of situation with relationships, you guys. All the change that we've been experiencing on the inside is getting to the point where if we don't talk about it, it's going to cause explosions in our personal lives. All this planetary energy is encouraging us to grow, and seeing what needs to be worked on is going to trigger the ego. And so our ego defense is often to be like, no, that's not the case. I don't need to work on that. So being humble is definitely the way to get through this challenging time in the smoothest way and most graceful way possible. Don't fool yourself into thinking that you are growing any better or any worse than anybody else, because we are all unique and we all have our own individual paths. So as you're going through your process, a lot of us are going to feel challenged in relationships. You might feel like you know how your partner or coworker or friend should be doing their life better. You might feel like you have some sort of better outside perspective, but that urge to tell other people what to do is totally coming from ego. Don't do it. The best way to go about this whole situation, this change, this energy of growth and uncomfortable expansion as we learn about ourselves and about life, the best way to go about it is to be humble and not to make judgments about other people. It's totally going to backfire and blow up in your face, and then it's going to be the other person turning around and saying something that you really didn't want to hear. So don't go there. The best way to get through this is to focus inwards. Make sure to do your work first. Now, if you have loved ones in your life and you want them to grow and you want them to grow alongside of you, it's not about telling them how to grow. It's about listening to what their challenges are and then maybe asking them, do you want advice? Do you want me to just listen? Or do you want me to just agree with you? Sometimes asking what somebody needs in a situation is going to avoid a lot of conflict, because then they're going to feel heard and validated, and then they're going to feel safe to express what's going on. And we ourselves need a safe place to express what's going on. So I strongly encourage you to communicate, even though the energy this week is going to be holding us back. We've got bad angles between the moon and Mars and Mercury, so there's a whole lot of feeling alone, feeling isolated, not wanting to talk about it. But in reality, talking is the best way. Just get it out. The best thing to do is lead with compassion and learn to let go with grace, most definitely. On Sunday with the moon in Scorpio, we're feeling lucky, we're feeling creative, we're feeling excitable. So that's an awesome way to end the weekend. However, on Monday, that twitchy feeling comes in. And the twitchy feeling comes from knowing that change needs to happen, but not necessarily being sure about how to make it happen. And so the best thing we can do is definitely dig deeper, ask those difficult questions. In a relationship, if you've been putting up with something and it's really, really bugging you, you got to say something. Make sure to come from a place of love and respect, but definitely verbalizing what's happening on the inside and helping it come out is going to be a huge way to relieve that twitchy feeling that's going to come and go throughout the week. On Tuesday, it's going to be a great day as far as energy, positivity, optimism. The only challenge with the energy on the fall equinox on Tuesday is going to be overconfidence, overindulging, making silly, foolish choices, that sort of thing. Because on Wednesday, the moon moves into Capricorn late in the day, and it's going to kind of feel like reality hitting like a ton of bricks if you made foolish choices. So be careful on Tuesday to really think things through. On Wednesday, Mercury square Saturn. It's a great day to be focused. It's a great day to make sure that all your tasks are done and everything on your to-do list is ticked off. But there might be a feeling of negativity on the inside, and it might come through with your communications on the outside. So just keep in mind, you might come off as more negative than you mean to be. So just be careful with your communication on Wednesday. Also, don't get stuck dwelling on negative thoughts. If you find that's happening, take a walk, move your body. It'll help the mind move as well. The other thing happening on Wednesday is Venus is in a really difficult angle with Neptune. And we're going to find in relationships that we're going to be reflecting on the standards and the ideals that we have. And it's a great time to ask, are we holding realistic expectations? You know, we might be holding our partners or our coworkers or our friends or loved ones to a higher standard than what they're actually capable of. So it's a great time to reassess the standards and the ideals that we hold inside and see if we're being too hard on others, but also maybe too hard on ourselves. It's a great time to kind of rethink things through. The other thing too is on Wednesday, the courage and the confidence to have those conversations about emotions is going to be there, because Tuesday, Wednesday, the moon's going to be in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. We're going to feel more chatty. We're going to feel more willing to talk about whatever it is that's on our minds. But also Sagittarius sometimes has a hard time holding back what is rude or negative or maybe not the best thing to say in a moment. Wow, it just started raining. Sorry about the background noise there. Thursday, Mercury is opposite Mars, and the challenge is risk of accidents with what we say or what we do, simply because we're not thinking things through. The energy of change right now is making us feel squeezed, like a cork about to come out of a bottle. So there's a lot of impatience happening inside. And so throughout this time of change and pressure and growth, definitely thinking things through is always the best policy. Friday, Mercury is going to be conjunct the moon. The moon is going to line up with Jupiter and then Pluto and then Saturn. So earlier in the day, when the moon hits Jupiter, we're going to feel compassionate towards other people. We're going to feel hopeful and optimistic. It's going to be an upbeat vibe. This is on Friday in the morning. And then as the moon hits Pluto, it's going to kind of switch to a little bit more of an introspective vibe. And we're going to start thinking things through. Okay. And then towards the end of the day, when the moon lines up with Saturn, it's definitely going to be a much more heavy tone. So just be mindful of that. Don't take yourself too seriously. Reflection is great. This is an awesome time all throughout Friday to reach emotional awakenings reaching new levels of awareness within our beings and within ourselves and our lives and our relationships. But again, don't take yourself too seriously. On Saturday, the moon moves into Aquarius, which is it's going to be a nice way to start the weekend. A little bit of levity, lightening the air, lightening the mood, being able to see the big picture rather than being too focused on the details. The other thing, though, is that Venus is going to be in another difficult angle with Pluto, and there is the potential for intense emotional experiences. Again, if you've been holding back in any of your relationships, there's a possibility on Saturday that it might be an explosion of what you think. So instead of puking all your stuff onto somebody else, figuratively, try and do as much inner work and processing during the week and utilize the energy in the beginning of the week that's going to be there for positive, flowing communication. So think things through. I know everybody's feeling so squeezed right now. And the other thing too is that if you're looking at your partner or coworker or boss or any relationship that's important to you right now, and if you're looking at that relationship and you're comparing it to how you feel on the inside, you might be starting to feel a disconnect. Like, my partner isn't growing the way that I am, or I'm outgrowing this work situation, or I'm outgrowing this friend circle. These might be valid observations. However, you do have a choice. And the more that you vocalize what's happening inside of you and the growth that you're experiencing, you give people the opportunity to join you, or at least reflect back to you that they're going through some sort of growth as well. And then you're joining together, and it's a much more positive, healthy way to go. At least you've given people the opportunity to grow with you. There's also the tendency, as we're feeling this squeezing and tightening of all this energy of change, there's also the possibility that you're feeling like just leaving them in the dust. They don't suit me anymore. They're not growing the way that they should be. Check yourself. It might be your ego talking. At least if you give them the opportunity by having a good conversation about where you're at least you give them the opportunity to reflect back to you where they're at, and then you can really assess whether or not it's worth leaving this relationship behind. And then there are some other situations where a relationship is legitimately pulling on your mental or physical or emotional health, in which case, yes, this is a great time for letting go of anything that isn't helping you grow towards the light in the best way possible, right? So yeah, if you have any questions about the astrology or anything else, please do comment below. Send me a message. I love talking about astrology and tarot. This is Erin here at Queen Bee Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.